This is Geometry, Chapter 5, Section 3, in which we will study inequalities in one triangle. First off, we're going to remind you of a few things that we talked about in the previous chapter, but I need you to remember them so that we can talk about them again. If we take a triangle and extend one of the sides, such as down here, extending that line out, then what we have is called an exterior angle. And the two angles on the inside of the triangle not adjacent to that one, the exterior, were called the remote interior angles. So angle 1 would be an exterior angle for that triangle. Angles 3 and 4 are the remote interiors for angle 1. Okay. Like I say, I know we discussed that in the previous chapter. I just wanted you to have it again so that you had the information to reference. So now there's another theorem also named the exterior angle theorem, which is quite annoying that they use the same name twice, but that's just the way life is. Okay. This version of the exterior angle theorem says that the measure of an exterior angle is greater than either of the remote interior angles, which makes sense given that we know the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interiors. Well, if it's equal to the two things added together, it must be bigger than either one of them. That's kind of the idea. So our job is to find the angles in this picture that have measures less than angle 1. Well, angle 1 down here is an exterior angle for this triangle. So 1 is definitely bigger than either of 3 and 4, and also any of 5 and 6. 3 and 4 together make a remote interior, so 1 is bigger than both of them. 1 is also bigger than these remote interior, 5 and 6. So 1 is for certain bigger than 3, 4, 5, and 6. It looks to be greater than angle 8, but again, don't trust your lying eyes. Just because it looks obtuse and that looks acute doesn't mean anything. It may or may not be bigger than 2. It may or may not be bigger than 7. But we do know for certain it's bigger than 3 and 4, and also 5 and 6. Okay. Our next two theorems go together, at least in my mind. And there's going to be a lot of prepositional phrases to throw around here, but that's okay, we can handle that. If one side of a triangle is longer than another side, then the angle opposite the long side is greater than the angle from the short side. And I'll show you a picture here in just a second so you can see what I'm talking about. And 510 is basically the converse of 59. If one angle is greater than another angle, then the side opposite the greater angle is larger than the side opposite the smaller angle. Okay. If we put these two theorems together and kind of make my own theorem out of it, the short version of this says the bigger angle goes with the bigger side. Smaller angle goes with the smaller side. Okay. Bigger angles make bigger sides. Smaller angles make smaller sides. There's a lot of fancy verbiage in these two theorems. A lot of mathematically precise language that leads to this statement. The bigger angle goes with the bigger side. The smaller angle goes with the smaller side. So our job here is to list the angles of this triangle in order from smallest to largest. Okay. Well, first we need to figure out where the smallest side is. Which one of these three is the smallest side? 3.7 is the smallest, so AB is the smallest side. Which angle is across from that side is angle C. So angle C is the smallest of the angles. Okay. Out of the remaining sides, which one is smaller? AC is smaller than BC, so AC is the next one. And AC is across from angle B. Well, process of elimination leaves angle A to be the largest. So all you have to do to put the angles in the order is figure out the sides. Okay. Now we can also go the other way. They want us to put the sides in order from smallest to largest. Well, the objective then is to figure out which angle is the smallest. Well, before we can figure out which angle is the smallest, we need to know how big angle X is. Okay. Angle X is 180 minus those two angles that we already know. So angle X is 79. Now that we know that, which angle is the smallest? 45 is the smallest angle. Which side is across from that angle? Well, I went largest to smallest. Oops. So YX is the smallest. It should be first. I read this backward when I was typing this. I did largest to smallest. XW is the second one because 56 is the next smallest angle. And then 79 is the final angle. So I've got these two in the wrong order. What I'm going to do, since I can get away with this and you can't, is I'm going to change the question. So now I've got the right answer on there. See, sneaky, aren't I? So the idea is the biggest side leads to the biggest angle, the smallest side leads to the smallest angle. Okay. And as always, if you had questions along the way, hopefully you wrote those down. Bring them in with you, and we will see you in class.